Hello again, and I'm still Sue Johnson, and this time we are honored and pleased to have our guest, Charles Eduardos. And I knew him a long time ago from our acting, which was many a minute ago. But since then, Charles has gone on to develop his own businesses. And in fact, Charles Eduardos, welcome, and tell us about the 15 different businesses that you have since our early days that you have been involved in,
Well,
and including Victorious Living, yes.
Well, has it been that many? Pretty much everything has evolved to Victorious Living System, but always had this fascination about personal development.
Me too.
Becoming the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become, and going through formal training in Neurolinguistic Programming, becoming a certified hypnotherapist, all have been parts of the journey. Started out with just doing coaching, business and executive coaching, which I still do. When I was working with the Department of Justice, a lot of it had to do with diversity training. But again, it just comes down to helping individuals and organizations to develop their personnel, being the best version of who we can be.
And we need a lot of work on that. I don't want to get started or belabor anything. However, the condition of our country and for the world, of the world for that matter, we need a lot of help. I don't even read the news. I don't watch it. And I suggest when I with my groups, don't get up on the news and don't go to bed on the news.
Absolutely. Very good
because
advice. Yeah.
it just gets into your psyche, whether you are aware of it or not.
It does. Absolutely.
So the only news I even sort of see is I have Google homepage.
Okay.
And so whatever the headlines and the photos are, I'll look at that. That's as far as it goes. I can't stand it.
Well, that advice is really good, and I tell clients all the time, do not watch the 11 o'clock news and then go to bed.
Exactly.
Because the last thing that you focus on does tend to, as we go into the processes and the sleep cycles, it does all kinds of crazy things, potentially. So we want to have a more intentional, positive focus before going to sleep. So that's excellent news. Everybody should listen to Sue.
And nobody does. Ask all my actors. And Charles, tell us a little bit about this kind of like a postcard flyer. And it is Be Transformed by Renewing of Your Mind.
Yes.
See, you're right up there with the authors that I have followed for many, many years. I think it began with, oh God, here I go again. Who wrote, Winning Friends and Smiling?
Oh,
and
Dale Carnegie.
I think I started with that. And have since moved on to all kinds of, metaphysical, spiritual folks. And Robert Schuller was somebody else I followed for many, many years until that fell apart. But now I have kind of found, of course, Joel Osteen, and there's a lady, what is her name? She comes on at 6 o'clock in the morning. And, Joyce Meyer.
Joyce Meyer.
She is funny.
Yeah,
now,
yes,
I don't necessarily agree with everything that all of them say.
Yeah.
But she's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about, you forgot to go get your book. So tell me about what you write about and how it relates, and I'm going to say it's on the spiritual level because your whole self.
Yes. 40 years in ministry, it kind of can't help but be But yeah, everything for me centers in spirituality, raised up in a Christian family and everything, raised Roman Catholic. I'm currently a Lutheran pastor with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America out in Olmsted Falls, All Saints Lutheran Church. And the transformation, be transformed, the Greek word that we get transformed from is metamorpho, which is the same word we get metamorphosis from.
Exactly.
So it is. We become, when we renew our mind, we literally become a different person. We look the same, but there's something very different about us. And I'm one that believes all spiritual paths are ultimately seeking the same ultimate goal.
Yes.
And I think it's unfortunate that many times we do get into confrontations and this battle over who's right, which I think is an unfortunate waste of energy. Let's focus on areas that we can agree and areas that are going to help us transform our minds and to broaden our horizons and to understand more clearly and maybe more definitively who we really are. What is our identity? I think the whole world is suffering from a degree of identity theft. We have had stolen from us the potentiality of who we are as human beings and what we were created to really be and accomplish in the world.
Now, is this the essence, what you just said, kind of the belief system, if you will, of your living victorious system?
Yeah,
and that's what you teach or present to your clients and audiences and so forth?
Yes, and I must say my clients have been Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, Christian. Truth and effective things transcend maybe religious beliefs and everything. So I have been, I'll say, blessed to be able to take the foundational truths that I have learned about how we are fearfully and wonderfully made and how this thing works, and been able to translate those individually and kind of customize it depending upon the individual's frame of reference.
Yes.
And this goes into the neurolinguistics, understanding what is the meaning of this particular word. When we talk about, religion, what does that mean to you? For some people, religion leaves a very bad taste in their mouth. For some people, religion is something that is very profound and special. So it's getting down to the real meanings, not looking for points of contention, but looking for how can we come to a clear understanding to get you from where you are to where you want to be.
Oh, that's exactly what I teach in my acting coaching and classes, and whenever we have a performance and in the rehearsal process. So, speaking of acting, can you translate how our actors and other performing artists, we just had, a musician, of course, there's dancers, there's, all sorts of performing artists.
Sure.
How can neurolinguistics help us in our performing arts situations?
Well, and going back to our working together and out of the same agency and everything, when we're playing a role, it's a matter of feeling into that role. When I did the made-for-TV mini-movie, Our Father, it was getting into that character. And in neurolinguistics, we call it the as-if frame. Act as if. Now that translates even into the business world, because a business executive, a salesperson, or whatever, you are in a performance. When that person comes in looking to buy a new car, you have to be your best performance in order to sell that car, and you're going to, I think, probably do that a lot better as you connect with what that person or couple is looking for, and if you can provide that service for them. So when we talk about acting in the professional realm, yeah, you are imagining what it would feel like to be in the situation, whatever the script is calling for, whatever the scene is calling for. And this is where I would say good actors, male and female actors, can do an amazing job and actually bring real tears because they feel the emotion. They can bring authentic laughter because they feel that laughter, because they are identifying with. And we don't think and feel.
Exactly.
We think feel.
Yes.
Okay, because for every thought there is an associated feeling.
That goes
for
with
every
it.
feeling there is an associated thought.
That goes with it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when we understand that and we begin to, and that's why I say, learn how to run your own mind. Notice what your triggers are in your day-to-day life. What is it that, hits your tripwire for anger or whatever? And once we understand where those things are, then we can, on command, elicit that mental emotional state anytime we want to.
Exactly. Oh, I'd love it. I told you we could sit and talk all day. James could join us too, because he could talk about it as well.
Yeah.
You're one of my, turns out you're a very special favorite person. And even though you are a pastor, your church uses a non-traditional approach, does it not?
Yeah, we, the whole thing.
I know it's Lutheran based.
Right, yes, we are. And one of the things that we say at our church, we are, first and foremost, we're Christians, but we keep the Lutheran traditions. And our thing is not about, traditions can be good and traditions can also be very bad.
Yes.
There needs to be some balance, and I think we're kind of more about living out the mandate of love that is at the foundation of Christianity. So,
and this world, where can you find love these days? Pure, unadulterated love.
Honey, I've been looking for love in all the wrong places. But you can you can find love at 7230 Columbia Road in Olmsted Township. That's All Saints.
That's your pastor's, your church.
Yeah, that's the church. And in my office, I basically kind of work out of the church, between church and home. They at the church know what I do, and they recognize the overlap of the paths. So.
Well, that is, if more folks were open-minded, if more folks were open to the truths of life, of love, everything, that would be absolutely marvelous. Our world would change so that we would not have all of this conflict. Now, I know on the spectrum of whatever, because I forget the rest of it, if you have positive, you have to have negative. If you have good, you've got to have evil. And that's about the only thing that keeps me going in this world, is on this spectrum. If we can move away from the negative, the evil, the dark, and move more into the light and the truth.
Right.
Look how wonderful we would be. But I guess there's always going to be an element of ugly in the world.
You can, but with the lemons, as we call them sometimes, the lemons in life, we just say, okay, so how do let's make some lemonade out of these lemons,
yes.
So, we live in a dualistic world, a dualistic society, but then in the history our faith history, there is the unitive mind. And this was what one of my pet words out of theology, repent. What does repent really mean? And in the Greek, that word is metanoia, which literally means get out of your mind.
Okay, yes.
And get out of your old way of thinking. Change your mind.
Be ye transformed
by the renewing of your
mind.
There you go. High five.
You got it. I can't raise his arm too far.
Okay,
It's got issues. But here, let's do this.
There you
go.
Yeah, that's definitely a high five. And that's a challenge. People say, oh, that's so hard. It's so hard. And I say, is it hard or is it just unfamiliar?
Unfamiliar, yes.
We move from an unconscious incompetence to an unconscious competence.
Yeah, I need to take you home with me. I need a lot of work. James, you come to after you train. James has got to go to work and train somebody on his job. Now, for folks who would be interested in attending your church, would you give us the name, the contact information, its location, and the times of services?
Okie doke. Well, it's All Saints Lutheran Church, and we are located at 7230 Columbia Road in Olmsted Township. The phone number there is 440-235-1000.
Okay.
And our services are every Sunday morning at 10:30. We have a free community meal on the first, second, and third Wednesday of every month.
Oh, that's ambitious.
Yeah, that's just come, guest of the Lord, no carding or anything like that. We have, on Sunday, Christmas Eve, we actually have two services. We'll have a candlelight service at 6:30 p.m. In addition to the morning 10:30 service. And you can find us online at www.allsaintsolmstedfalls.us. And on there you also get, our sermons the messages are recorded every Sunday with the slide presentation that goes with the sermon, the audio. And those are on the website as well, so people can kind of get a flavor for my insanity.
Well, if more pastors were insane, we'd be in better shape. That's my opinion. And I have to interrupt just for a second because my daughter, Heidi Lynn Blount Barham, would kill me if I didn't give her and her church a plug.
Okay.
She's a pastor at Ledgewood Christian Church. It's a Disciples of Christ.
My auntie used to be a member before she became pastor, I think.
Yes, because she's been there now about 3, maybe going on her 4th year. Well, tell your auntie to come back.
Oh, she's gone to heaven.
Oh, well, have her come back and visit.
I think she visits every Sunday. You know?
Okay. And Heidi, her church is actually just west of 306, and I call it Route 87 all the way out. It changes names. I call it South Woodland. But they have services 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings. And no, I don't know the phone number, but you certainly can find Ledgewood Christian Church on the internet. And even though I'm a non-traditionalist, I go to support her because her style is not only the message, but to insert education in it as well.
Absolutely.
So it is not just one-dimensional.
Right.
And now, Charles, as the director, founder, whatever the heck you are, what are you of your victorious living system?
I'm just kind of a one-man band, and I do have here of late have been training a few folks that want to learn how to do what I do. But at the present, I'm just it, you know.
Okay.
I'm the guy, and I do the trainings. I have a few clients, as many as one person can take and do a church, you know. So, but yeah.
Okay, and how can folks reach you at Victorious Living Systems?
Well, Victorious Living Systems, our website is www.victoriousliving.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an 800 number. Well, it's an 866-828-1814. I do have folks that I work with remotely, client in Nova Scotia, California, Boston, Massachusetts. As I said, I had the one client from Egypt. So through the marvels of modern technology and Skype and Zoom, can work with people anywhere. And then locally, there are folks that like the opportunity to just sit in my presence.
Of
no,
course.
just
at the feet of the modern day
no,
master.
No.
Do we have to kiss the hem of your pants?
Please, no. Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
I'm just me, and doing my best to try to help folks reach that point of liberation. The things, it's amazing the potential that everybody has.
The potential, yes.
My commitment is, and as I say, releasing and empowering human potential through heightened self-awareness. When we become aware, and in the ancient mystical teachings, even of the Christian Church, we go around in this what they call a sleep. We're
Yes.
awake and we're doing our thing every day,
Mm-hmm.
but we are spiritually asleep,
In consciousness.
unconscious to our full potential,
Mm-hmm.
unconscious to our true identity.
And my take on it is when I work with actors and folks, and I used to teach, high school and all that, but I always say that the foundation of our problems, we do not know who we are. I always work with the exercise, who am I?
Mm.
And when they start saying what they do,
Mm-hmm.
I always say, but
Mm-mm.
that's not
Who
you are.
Yeah.
Do you use any of that in your approach?
I tell people, are you a human being or a human doing?
I'm going to steal that.
No, go right
No, I'm
ahead.
going to take
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, and that's, the ontology, an ontological approach, and this my coaching is somewhat ontological because it's how are you being in the world?
Yes.
That is the question.
And I have to work on not being concerned with doing so much. Depending on where I am, I've had to relearn
Yeah.
how to sit still
Yeah.
in the silence.
Yeah.
How to just
Watch out now. Now see that, and Psalm 62, my soul waits in silence for
Yes.
you alone. That there is such power in just that silence, being still. I tell people many times, and we'll do this in service sometime, I'll just ask people to, just for this moment, don't try to control your breath, but just notice.
Notice it.
Just
Yes.
notice the natural rhythm, notice what happens, and invariably when people are invited to pause, notice their breathing, I say, so what did you notice? What happened? They said, I just seemed to relax.
Exactly.
And you can actually physically see that. You can
Yes.
see people, the shoulders will kind of drop a little bit. And that's a wonderful exercise, a very simple exercise that people can do at any given moment, just to pause and bring your attention to your breath.
And we do that through our meditation
Yeah.
approach, our guided imagery.
Yes.
There's so many names.
Yes.
So we'll end on the note that Charles has so eloquently spoken upon. But be still, and I always say, be still and know God. Or if you call him, her, it. I got another thing. If God's the father, where's the mother?
Okay.
So I'm on that one now. I'm on that kick. So be still and know that I am God. I am Allah. I am Jehovah. Or whatever you choose to call your supreme being, your higher power.
I get in trouble because I call him Gus sometimes. and that acronym, God, Universe, Spirit. But God is God. God is not a man. God is not a woman.
It's
God
a spirit.
is God.
Yeah, God is God.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we got to turn the cameras off now.
Okay.
But as we leave,
Yes.
thank you so very much.
Thank you for inviting
glad
me.
that we have connected, and I didn't realize we were going to have so much. I guess spiritually, I recognized something in you that made me say, let's get you on the show.
Okay.
And he's here. And now you're there. And now we're going to close out and thank our guests, Kate Oney from Rainey Institute and Charles Eduardos from Victorious Living Systems and the All Saints Lutheran Church. And of course, thanking James McGilbray, our videographer on set, and Lester Bryant, our editor, who is at home. And I hope you're feeling well, Lester. Okay, until next time, as I always say, be sure to wake up and live with the arts every day. Till next time.